Let's turn our attention to another of your lockdown stories. Every single day we're speaking to somebody telling us how lockdown has been affecting them. Of course, I'm going to reiterate this once again. We are in no way undermining the terrible, terrible, terrible times that people are going through, losing their loved ones to COVID, or indeed the amazing work of the healthcare workers who are on those COVID wards doing a valiant work. But we're also talking about, and I think something that's been much missed off the mainstream media agenda, what's actually happening to an awful lot of people who are really struggling with the lockdown, how it's affected them, whether it's their business, physical health, mental health, children's education, relationships, everything, all of the above. So I'm asking you to get in touch. breakfast@talkradio.co.uk. That is the email address to email into. breakfast@talkradio.co.uk. Whatever it is you've missed out, whether it's a wedding, being able to go to a loved one's funeral, not being able to travel to see a family overseas, whatever the issue is, do get in touch. Give us a little bit about detail about yourself and what's been affecting you, and also give us your telephone number so we can get in touch. Love to get you on air to tell your story. I think it's really important. Loads of the people who've been on the line in the last few days, people are just saying that, oh, you're speaking for me. I think it's encouraging to hear other people saying what's going on in our minds, to realise that we are not alone in this, in struggling with lockdown. So let's talk to Ruth, who's from Nottinghamshire and joins us today. Good morning to you, Ruth.
Oh, good morning, Julia.
Good morning. Thank you so much for getting in touch. Well, let's start with, this is you're going through an awful lot at the moment. You have a progressive terminal disease. And you do not necessarily have that many more years of life. How old are you now?
I'm 69.
69. And your disease, in terms of what it is and your life expectancy, where are you now?
It's a terminal lung disease. I was diagnosed 5 years ago, and the prognosis at the time was 3 to 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
I seem to be doing fine physically.
But obviously you've got that hanging over you at all times, on top of all the pressure of what we're all facing with lockdown. So tell me, with that in your life, how you've coped with the last year of lockdown.
I found it really difficult. Basically, I've been put in solitary confinement for a year. I've just had another letter from the government saying you must shield till the end of March. And what they're saying to us now is that you may not even be allowed out in June.
And is that voluntary shielding or mandatory?
Well, it's shielding advice for those who are clinically vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you mustn't even go to a shop or anything.
Do you have a partner, children, or are you literally on your own all day?
I have 2 children. One of them is my designated carer, but is now redundant, so won't be able to come over. The other one I can't really see because I'm only allowed to see one.
Yeah. And you've got grandchildren?
I've got 7 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
Wonderful. And presumably not able to see them at all?
Can't see them at all. Can't give them hugs and kisses and do all the things that you should be able to do.
Well, all the stuff that makes life worthwhile.
Yes.
And especially at a time when you know that your life may not be continuing for much longer. I mean, it's devastating to even say those words.
I wanted to be able to get the most out of whatever time it turns out that I have, and I can't do anything.
You've also got an elderly mother at 96 as well. Have you been able to see her at all?
No, I've seen her once in the last year. And I talk to her every day, and I see her get more and more depressed.
Is she in a care home or is she living at home?
She's in a residential home.
So she's isolated, you're isolated, you can't see more than one of your children, you can't see your grandchildren at all. Do you feel a lot of that is, that's the rules and you're a good citizen and you have to obey the law, or are you genuinely every day fearful that if you do come into contact with people that your risk as someone with a progressive terminal lung disease is so high that it's simply not worth the risk?
I keep myself away from people to protect my own health, but I just feel I should be able to make decisions. If my children, my grandchildren, are careful and they think about me, then I can't see why I can't give them a hug.
And I certainly know that, I mean, the number of people I know who wanting to see their family members at Christmas, for instance, or even wanting to see them when lockdown is, and over the last summer would make sure they were, incredibly careful for a week or two, really limiting any other contact, even when it was legal, to then make sure, and in the cases where we got access to tests, having a test to make sure that when they did see their elderly relatives, they knew that they weren't a risk to them. Because you know what? People are good people and people are sensible and people don't take risks around their relatives' health for obvious reasons. I mean, this is what people do, normal human beings do. The fact that people aren't allowed to make those decisions and you can't make those decisions, and that has been taken out of your hands by the government near possibly the last few years of your life. Is it the lack of control? Is it the powerlessness? Is it the loneliness? What is it that is the most difficult to deal with?
To me, giving someone a hug is a meeting of your souls, and it's something we can't do anymore. What the government are doing at the moment is just psychological torture. They say, it will end, no it won't end. Yes it will, no it won't. And that goes on, and it's still going on now, even with the last announcement. You may be able to do this, but actually I might take it away from you and change my mind. And it just feels to me like it's intentional, like it's a way of making us get into obedience. It just feels awful.
I agree with you on so much about that. This idea that seeing other human beings as nothing but virus vectors, as opposed to people who we need in our life, who make life worthwhile, make life worth living, I think is a very sad way to view other human beings.
I think it is. And I think, what my recent letter was saying, if you've got mental health problems, contact these people and they'll give you advice and practical steps on how to deal with it. I don't need advice and practical steps. I need hugs and kisses.